Have you ever missed past love? The letter arrives without warning, slipped between advertisements and unpaid bills. The envelope is plain, the paper thin, the handwriting unmistakable. He recognizes it before touching it, the way the body recognizes pain before the mind agrees. His name curves across the surface with careful restraint, as if written by someone afraid of leaving a mark. He does not open it immediately. The room is quiet, late afternoon light resting gently on the furniture. Dust floats lazily, visible only when the sun catches it just right. Outside, the city breathes in slow, indifferent rhythms. A bus sighs at the corner. Somewhere, glass clinks. Life continues with remarkable discipline. It's down. Years have passed since he last thought of her without effort. That is what he tells himself. Time has a way of dulling edges, of smoothing memories until they seem harmless. But some things do not dull. They wait. The envelope is cool between his fingers. He turns it once, then again as if searching for instructions hidden in its weight. The return address is missing. Of course it is. She always knew how to arrive without being followed. He remembers her through sensations more than images. The way silence changed when she entered a room. The faint warmth left behind after she stood up. The particular calm that came from being seen without explanation. Loving her never felt like fire. It felt like gravity. When it ended, it did not explode. It receded. Slowly, politely, leaving behind a hollow where certainty used to live. He opens the letter. The paper smells faintly of something familiar, not fume. Something shared. His eyes move across the lines, but the words resist him at first, rearranging themselves around memory. Write simply. No accusations, no nostalgia, just presence. She tells him where she is. She tells him why she never spoke. She does not ask him to come. That is what unsettles most. The letter does not demand. It acknowledges. It places the truth between them like an object on a table and steps back. Whatever he does next will be his alone. He folds the paper carefully, precisely along its original creases. His hands are steady, though something inside him is not. The room feels altered now, as if it has absorbed of the words and adjusted its proportions accordingly. Outside, the light has shifted. Evening approaches quietly. The city prepares for another night without ceremony. He stands and moves toward the window. The glass reflects his face, older than the man she knew, but not unrecognizable. He searches it for signs of the person he was when love felt permanent. He finds fragments, enough. The letter rests in his pocket, heavier than its weight allows. Love, he realizes, does not disappear. Changes state. It becomes memory, then choice, then responsibility. Somewhere across the city, she exists in the same moment, unaware of his stillness, trusting him with the aftermath of truth. That trust feels more intimate than the love they once named. He exhales, slowly. The day is not finished. Neither is the story. He turns from the window, already aware that nothing will return to what it was before the letter arrived. Love has a quiet way of reopening doors. And this one, once opened, will not close gently. He does not leave the apartment right away. That has altered the air, thickened it, made every movement feel observed. He places it on the table, aligning its edges with care, as if order might soften its impact. The room listens. The walls have always been good at that. Evening settles gradually. Shadows stretch and overlap, blurring the familiar geometry of the space. He moves through it slowly, touching objects without purpose. A chair back, the spine of a book, the window frame, still cool from daylight. Each contact grounds him in the present, though his thoughts drift elsewhere. He remembers the last time he saw her clearly. Not the words exchanged, but the space between them. The pause where something could have been said and wasn't. He had mistaken restraint for wisdom. He understands now that silence can also be a decision, and decisions have consequences that age with you. The letter mentioned a place, a neighborhood near the river, far from where they once lived. He imagines it without effort. Narrow streets, trees, toward water. The kind of area where sound travels softly, arrive early. It suits her. She was always drawn to margins rather than centers. He wonders how long she has been there, how many mornings she has woken without him in her thoughts. The idea unsettles him more than jealousy ever did. He realizes is not threatened by absence, but by replacement, not of people, of versions. Night arrives fully. The city lights flicker on, one by one. Like hesitant confessions, he turns on a lamp and sits again, this time with intention. The letter does not move. It has said everything it needs to say. He considers not going. The possibility is real. He could preserve this moment exactly as it is, balanced and unresolved. There is a certain safety in unanswered questions. They cannot disappoint you. But the letter did not ask him to come. It trusted him to decide. That trust presses against him now, quiet but firm. Demands honesty, not performance. Whatever he chooses will define not their past, but his future. He stands and retrieves a coat from the closet. The fabric smells faintly of dust and cold air. As he slips it on, he feels the resistance of habit giving way. He checks his pockets, keys, phone, the letter. Outside, the street hums softly. Couple passes, laughing without restraint. A window glows somewhere above, curtains drawn but light escaping anyway. Life reveals itself in fragments. He locks the door behind him and pauses, hand resting on the handle. The apartment has sheltered him well. It has asked little and offered consistency. Leaving it feels like a small betrayal. He descends the stairs without looking back. Each step echoes briefly, then disappears. At the bottom, the door opens to the night. Cool air brushes his face, carrying the scent of rain that hasn't fallen yet. He steps onto the sidewalk and begins to walk. Not toward the river. Not yet. Just forward, allowing the city to adjust around him. The letter rests against his chest, separated from his skin by layers of fabric, yet impossibly close. He does not reread it. He does not need to. Its meaning has already embedded itself. Love, he thinks, is not about return. It is about response. And tonight, for the first time in years, he is moving, instead of remembering. The city guides him without asking. Streets narrow, then widen again, bending toward the river as if pulled by a shared memory. Pavement glistens under streetlights, reflecting broken versions of the sky. His footsteps find a rhythm that feels older than intention, steady and unhurried. As he walks, images surface uninvited. Not moments of passion or loss, but ordinary fragments. Her coat hanging on the back of a chair. The way she listened without interrupting. Mornings that carried no urgency. Love, he now understands, had lived in those quiet spaces, unnoticed until they emptied. He reaches the riverbank and stops. Water moves endlessly, catching light, distorting it, carrying it forward. He leans against the railing and lets the sound wash over him. The letter presses gently against his chest, a reminder that memory has weight. This place is not accidental. They once stood here together years ago, watching reflection tremble on the surface. He remembers thinking that some things were permanent simply because they felt still. He had been wrong. Permanence requires care. Stillness requires courage. The neighborhood she described begins just beyond the bridge. Trees line the streets there, their leaves whispering in the evening breeze. Windows glow softly, revealing only partial lives. He imagines her among them, moving through rooms that hold no trace of him. The thought is sharp, but clean. He crosses the bridge slowly. Each step feels like a transition rather than a choice. Halfway across, he pauses again, overcome by a sudden clarity. He is not afraid of seeing her. He is afraid of seeing who he became without her. The realization settles heavily, then steadies him. Whatever awaits is not a test of love, but of honesty. On the other side, the streets are quieter. Sound behaves differently here, softened by trees and distance. He slows, reading building numbers, recognizing nothing. This unfamiliarity comforts him. It means she has built something new, not merely preserved what they lost. He finds the address at last. The building is modest, its facade unremarkable. A light glows behind one window on the second floor. Curtains partially drawn, enough to suggest presence, not invitation. He stops across the street. This is the threshold the letter led him to. Not the door itself, but the moment before approaching it. He understands now why she did not ask him to come. Love offered freely cannot demand witness. It can only allow it. He feels the urge to step forward, to close the distance, to let motion replace thought. Instead, he remains still. To the hum of electricity, to the rustle of leaves, to his own breath, steady but deliberate. If he goes to her now, it will not be to reclaim anything. It will be to acknowledge what was and what still is without assumption. Love, stripped of possession, becomes something quieter and more difficult. Presence without promise. Truth without guarantee. The light in the window shifts slightly. A shadow passes, then fades. She is there, alive, frail, unaware of his pause. He reaches into his coat and touches the folded letter one last time. Gratitude surfaces unexpectedly. Not for the past, but for the chance to meet it honestly. He takes step forward. Another. The street does not change. The night does not respond. Only his pulse quickens, sharp and present. Whatever happens next will not rewrite their story. It will add to it. And that, he realizes, is enough. He stops at the edge of the street, close enough now to feel the presence of the building, far enough to remain unseen. The windows casts a faint glow onto the pavement, soft rectangle trembling slightly as someone moves inside. The sight settles into him with unexpected calm. This is not anticipation, it is acceptance. Rain begins without warning, not heavy, not dramatic. Just enough to change the texture of the night. The asphalt darkens. The air cools. The city lowers its voice. He does not seek shelter. The water on his skin feels earned, like punctuation. He thinks of the versions of himself that never reached this moment. The man who waited too long. The man who assumed love would remain where it was left. The man who believed restraint was kindness. Each of them feels distant now, like abandoned drafts. Across the street, the building's unchanged. No sign anything significant is happening. That, he realizes, is the point. Rarely announces its turning points. It moves quietly, reshaping lives while attention is elsewhere. He steps closer. The entrance smells of stone and rain. The doorframe is worn smooth by decades of hands, thousands of entrances and exits that had nothing to do with him. His reflection flickers briefly in the glass, distorted, then disappears as he pulls the door open. Inside, the stairwell is narrow and dim. Light bulbs hum softly overhead, casting uneven circles on the walls. Each step upward feels deliberate, stripped drama. His heartbeat steadies, no longer racing ahead of him. Second floor. He's again. Behind the door, a life continues. One that includes him only as memory. He does not know what expression waits on her face, or if she expects anything at all. The letter gave him no script, no reassurance. Only truth, offered without defense. He raises his hand. The pause before contact stretches, delicate and full. In it, he understands something essential. Love is not proven by arrival, but by the willingness to be seen without control. To accept whatever shape the answer takes. His knuckles touch the wood. The sound is soft, almost lost in the hum of electricity. Once. Enough. He lowers hand and waits. Time behaves strangely here. Seconds expand. Thoughts thin out. He becomes aware only of sensation. The warmth of the hallway. The cool dampness of his coat. The steady presence of his own breath. Footsteps approach from the other side. Stop. Opens. He does not look at her immediately. He feels her first. The shift in air. The subtle change in gravity. The familiarity that does not ask permission. When he finally lifts his eyes, he understands that love has not faded. It has clarified. The years between them have not erased what mattered. They have removed what didn't survive honesty. No words are needed. None would be accurate. She sighed. He enters. The door closes behind him, gentle and final. The rain continues outside, washing the city clean of things it no longer needs. Inside, the light is warm, steady, unafraid. This is not a reunion. It is a recognition. The story does not end here. It deepens. Inside, the apartment holds a quiet that feels intentional. Not the absence of sound, but its careful arrangement. A clock ticks somewhere deeper in the space. Water hums softly in the pipes. The room breathes with the subtle confidence of a place that has been lived in honestly. He stands just inside the door, letting his presence settle. The air is warmer here, carrying faint traces of tea, paper, and night air brought in through an open window. Nothing about the space tries to impress. Everything reveals. She does not rush. Neither does he. Time loosens its grip, allowing the moment to exist without pressure. This is what they were always good at, he realizes now. Things to be felt fully before naming them. He notices the small details first. Books stacked too deep on a shelf. A jacket draped carelessly over a chair. Near the window, leaves turned toward the light. Proof of continuity. Proof that her life did not pause in his absence. That knowledge does not hurt the way he once feared it would. Instead, it brings relief. Love that demands stagnation was never love. It was fear, wearing tenderness as disguise. They sit across from each other, the space between charged but calm. No apologies rise. No explanations scramble for release. The letter said what needed to be said. This moment is not about filling gaps, but acknowledging them. He feels the urge to reach for the past, to trace its outline and ask it to return. The urge passes. What remains something steadier? A willingness to meet what exists now, without rehearsal. Outside, the rain has fully stopped. The city exhales, streets reflecting light like memory reflects feeling never exactly as it was, but true enough to matter. A car passes. Somewhere, laughter drifts upward, unself-conscious and brief. He realizes then that love did not bring him here to reclaim anything. It brought him to witness. To stand present at the intersection of what was and what could be, without demanding resolution. She watches him with a familiarity that has survived time what calcifying. Not expectation. Not caution. Recognition. He understands that whatever form this connection takes now will be different. Quieter, perhaps. More fragile in some ways. Stronger in others. Love that has survived distance no longer confuses intensity with depth. He breathes in slowly, letting the moment imprint itself. This is not the climax he once imagined. There is no sweeping return, no dramatic promise. Only two people choosing honesty over protection, and that choice feels enough. Later, when he leaves, it will not be an ending. When he stays, it will not be a solution. The story has moved beyond such simple shapes. It now belongs to a longer arc, one built from attention rather than certainty. For now, the night holds them gently. The city continues its layered hum. Somewhere far away, a window light clicks off. Another remains on. Love does not announce its permanence. It proves it quietly, in moments like this, where nothing is demanded and everything is allowed to exist as it is. The future, unwritten. But for the first time in a long while, that uncertainty feels like possibility, not loss.